All right, so I've been told that Nashville is the music city. We've had this conversation before. I'm not a big fan of live music, but Nashville is supposed to be the music city, right? So you would think that if you go to a Nashville event, you're going to get some fine music.
Yeah.
Not apparently if you go to a Nashville Predators game, you might get an anthem like this. I said like this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
How did that get approved? Like, do they not vet things? Were they just like, all right, this guy looks like he's
You
got a
said
jersey
vet.
on?
I think he was a vet.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up, but I think he was a vet.
Great
and
anthem.
You
Loved
get
it.
some leeway on that.
Gotta let
Thank
him
you
rock.
for your service, sir.
Incredible anthem.
Let him rock.
I'm still going to push back here.
Really?
Like, that there has to be another qualification.
Just on his face, you don't think that if you were at that game, you wouldn't love that? That was sick.
What? Play it again. This is ridiculous. You don't know what song it is.
What beat is that?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
That guy's never played the bongos before.
That's
Someone just handed it like, hey, this is how you're doing it.
A really fast beat for that song. That I'm not a bongo player. Although bongo
Yes,
does
you are. Everybody
seem-
is.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I love at the
Everybody
stadium
can.
when they do the thing where it's like they put a picture of a bongo and then everyone's playing that.
Yeah,
Even
that's
as an
fun.
instrument for the bongos, isn't that a very like Afro like
I would have assumed as much.
Cuban-
Yeah, it felt like a person to playing the bongos
Hold on.
authentically would have had a little bit more to them.
History of the bongo. Bongos, a pair of open bottom drums, originated in Afro-Cuban culture in the
Nailed it.
late 19th century.
Just sing it, man. Like, the singing's not terrible.
It's especially if you're playing the bongos while his voice is great for someone who's also simultaneously playing the bongos.
I think where Charlie was going with this was not arguing whether he's good at it or bad at it.
Why?
If you go to an event, would you rather just have a normal anthem? Or would you rather be at the one game where this guy plays the bongos?
I'm
while
with you.
singing?
This is interesting. And I would be laughing if I was in the arena. I wouldn't be angry about it, but it's just one of those things of like, something fell through the cracks here. Like, whoever's in charge of the production there was definitely like, all right, like the person under them got a strongly worded email the next day.
The best part about it was there was an intermission interview. They were playing the Ducks, and one of the Ducks players were like, "You guys got a slow start." Yeah, the bongo anthem really threw us off a little bit.
Is that better or worse than the Fergie anthem? You remember the All-Star game?
Better.
It's an
with
all-timer.
Fergie? Yeah.
It's
Top of the
better.
heap.
It's better.
You think it's better?
Way better. Way better. Because the expectation for Fergie was that it would be just that person went into it like, hey, this is a run-of-the-mill national anthem.
And you
get-
know what song she's singing the
get
whole
a-
time.
You get a platinum artist, of course, musically, they're going to do something where we're not going to make any headlines. We're good here.
The Fergie Anthem remix that the Warriors played in their locker room was awesome.
Yeah. Apparently she was not happy about that.
Or her ex-husband. Ex-husband was
Yeah.
complaining. Still standing for her.
It's a tough moment.
Oh, they still believe it was good.
That's right.
I don't think they believe it's good. I think that they are like,
I'm an artist. I wanted to make it my own.
wanted to make it, hey, you put the art out there and you let the people decide.
No, they're not letting the people decide. The
Yeah,
people have
true.
decided
They
that
decided
that was not art.
overwhelmingly.
It was the Draymond smile for
Where do
me.
we stop with the national anthem? At what version of the national anthem is it like, hey, let's,
I feel like we might have gotten there with this bongo.
yeah. If I go up there and just start rapping the national anthem, what's,
Like beatboxing like you would in class.
and I just start
talking
to, and I'm dead ass serious the whole time.
That's not beatbox. It's a lunch table beat.
Oh, yeah, beatboxing. with
Billy,
your
you looked
mouth.
at me crazy when I said that.
Well, I was trying to figure out where are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, what arena are you doing it in?
Let's make this happen. We can get you at a Heat game.
Because I think that
Somewhere where it's like it doesn't fit. Like
Oh.
like Pittsburgh Paints Arena for a
like
Penguins
Utah.
game. Yeah.
Like you're doing it as a Jazz game,
Yeah.
then maybe.
Just
Minor league baseball wouldn't fly.
yeah.
I say you do it in Canada. Turn the crowd.
Turn the
Because they're going to be
crowd.
booing you either way.
I
So
like that.
maybe if you do something different with it, they're like, wait, at first I wanted to boo this guy.
Yeah,
But his
now,
ambition.
when everybody's
has
waving and I get them started right here first,
when
and
I
they
say
all get
red,
into
you
it.
say glare.
Yeah, you gotta have a hype man. You
Got
gotta
to.
have a hype man along with it, and I volunteer, Mike.
Or
I think
bust,
it'd be
just
great.
bring Busta Rhymes. He's like, Jose, can you see when I'm in a minute?
Oh.
He just starts going in.
You're a speed rapper?
And you gotta get away. And the bombs are away.
That would be the best national anthem ever. Busta Rhymes national
Let's
anthem.
go.
10 seconds long.
I don't know how much time Hawk needs to prepare, but I feel like he's got it in him. I feel like he's got a Busta Rhymes national anthem in him at some
Look
point.
at me now version. Come on.
That's gold, man.
Yeah, well, speaking of music and art, there's a Beatles movie coming out, right, Mike?
There's
Again?
four Beatles movies
Coming out?
They each
Yeah.
get one?
Yeah, each member of the Beatles, they're all going to be directed by Sam Mendes, accomplished director. Accomplished director, did American Beauty. They're going to have, it's basically the Beatleverse. And 4 movies are going to all come out in April of 2028.
Okay.
It's being touted as the first ever bingeable theater experience. They're all going to be in each other's movies, but the focus will be on Paul's movie on Paul, and so on and so forth.
Got to start with Ringo. No one's going
Ringo
to
is
that fourth one. this year.
played by Barry Keoghan, who's long since been rumored to be attached to this project. This has been something that's been talked about for several years now in Hollywood. Sam Mendes taking on the Beatles, but doing an individual movie for each member. They finally announced the full cast today and the release of 2028. Now, I don't know if it's all coming out the very same release date. It would make sense to stagger them a little bit, but all 4 movies are going to come out the same month. That is a plan right now. This is very ambitious filmmaking.
I love the concept.
Yeah.
More for Netflix though.
It's a very Netflixy streamer type of idea. We've never really tried this in the theaters, but I kind of like that the theaters are trying to hop aboard the ambition train.
Yeah.
And Sam Mendes doesn't really make streaming films. Like, this is a big time cinematic, very accomplished director. It's the Beatles. They're literally like the biggest thing ever when it comes to music.
So it's going to be from like the same time period from all of their different perspectives, potentially? Or...
I don't know if it's going to focus on the same time period. Chris is reading the article right now. I don't know if it's going to time hop a
Right.
little bit. I mean, it's the Beatles. They went through famously several different eras, but their stories are going to very clearly be intertwined.
I love it. I think this is super dope.
Are you a Beatles guy, or you just love the concept generally?
I love the concept, and I probably am like 52% a Beatles guy.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom bought the Beatles 1 album when I was younger, and we played it off the hook, man. And so I just learned all the music and of that album specifically.
Did you guys see the show on Netflix a couple years ago called Kaleidoscope?
Yeah, I did.
So like Kaleidoscope was kind of like this, where it was like a heist movie, and there was like 8 or 9 episodes or whatever it was, and there was no order to watch them in, because each one was focusing on what happened, and depending on which order you watched it in, you would believe different things based on how the story
That's pretty cool, yeah.
unfolded.
That's kind of like the last season of Arrested Development on Netflix, when they like brought it back and then they gave you the perspective of each character. Nobody else saw it.
I can tell you, like, this is already.
You guys are very surprised at my
I
white,
like
it.
my whiteness. It's like, yo, you listen to Beatles and watching Arrested
know the
Development
thing- here's the
season 4.
Disarm me a little
The
bit.
thing about Arrested Development is like
You also played the bongos earlier.
you canceled it, you brought it back, then it was on Netflix, and there was like a long break in between, and then like you watch and you're like, I don't remember what's going on. And I watched it to watch it because I felt like I needed to have some closure.
Yeah.
But then there were times where I'm like, I'm watching this just to watch it,
Yeah.
like to say that I watched the whole thing.
That was my experience with it.
I want to go back. The OGs are still the best ones.
Yeah, but from a filmmaking perspective, I don't know how they're going to go about shooting this. It seems like a nightmare to edit because, like, well, we built this set for the Ringo part, but John, this is a big part of John, so I assume they're going to have their own perspective of the very same scene.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a very ambitious project to take on.
All right, I'm throwing you a bit of a curveball right now, but for somebody like me who, like, I'm aware of the Beatles, there's some songs that, like, are good, are fine, but I'm not a Beatles
Put that
guy.
on your bio.
I'm
Dominic
aware.
Foxworth,
I'm aware.
aware of the Beatles.
I'm aware of the Beatles, but my parents didn't play Beatles when I was young.
Okay.
Lots of people have like told me, hey, you got to listen to Beatles. They'll give me a song. I'm like, yeah, that thing is dope, but most of them, I think a lot of the Beatles stuff was so influential that it doesn't feel special now. It might have felt special at the time, but I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a lot of music that I've seen, but people who really appreciate, a lot of music I've heard, but people who really appreciate the Beatles will say that it's because music was so influenced by them. But what I want from you is some help at giving me some sports comps for each individual Beatle, because I know that, like, I heard off the top, we're not excited about the Ringo movie. Like, he's the least.
He's just clearly the fourth.
Yeah, Ringo's very clearly
The drummer.
the fourth, and probably won't make for the most interesting movie. And people have taken shots at his musical ability and whatnot. But
The George one will be interesting. See what
Ringo's like Michael from Boys to Men.
well,
If I gave a comp, like he was the one.
no longer surprised at your whiteness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I'm bilingual in that way.
I was looking for a sports comp, but that's a good non-sports comp.
Well, it's hard because it would have to be. I'm trying to get sports comps from the same era.
It doesn't have to be from the same era. It could be anywhere. So I'm trying to get a crash course in understanding the dynamics in these people and these characters. And I know, like, Paul seems like he's the most, like, famous and affable, and
But it only feels that way because he's been around. In your life, you haven't. John would probably be the more famous of
most
the two.
talented.
really.
If he were around still, he'd probably be the most revered.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know.
You have
Nathan
John
from-
Lennon and Paul McCartney, who are like the top two. George Harrison, resentful of them two, thinks he could have been one of the top guys, but
Is he
clearly
delusional? Is he more talented?
No, he's pretty talented.
No,
So
very
he could have
talented.
been. So he's right. He could have been.
No, George had a great single career. Like,
So John Lennon, a little bit like maybe Derrick Rose, Len Bias. No, not Len Bias.
Bias is a
I don't.
crazy comp.
I don't think anybody's asking what could have been. His legacy was kind of cemented. It's just like if he were still around right now, he'd be ultra revered.
So he would be the best of them.
I think so.
People
I think
think
if
John
you
Lennon is the
consider-
best.
But we might think that if Paul had died and John was staying here,
Right.
we might think that about
So
Paul.
Paul's whole thing is he's just alive.
Are you
Right.
calling Paul a compiler? A
Yeah,
life
like
compiler?
saying
just living.
that our
I'm not saying it's his whole
perceptions-
And Ringo's just chilling. Ringo's still alive. He's just like, he's Ringo.
I
He
think
doesn't
our
care.
perceptions of Paul would kind of. I think Paul and John were like
Right.
neck and neck. So
right.
if Paul had gone earlier and John was still here, I think we might. I don't know. I don't know.
I wish-
One
I wish
A,
your-
one B.
I wish your dad were here
I
to
get
get
this-
his perspective because he was around when it was going on.
Yeah.
He was.
I get the sense that John feels more like an artist. And that might also be, like, I get that sense because of the Yoko connection. Is like he feels more like a free-spirited artist, and Paul comes off more as a guy who, like, had the art in him but understood the commerce.
Paul was the one that everyone kind of liked, and he wrangled the group. Like, hey, come on in, guys. Let's do this. Let's do another album.
I feel like we're pissing people off.
If he had
Are
the
we?
option, do
I
you
don't
think
care.
Paul would change places with John
No.
to switch legacies?
I think he'd rather be
Would I
alive.
legacy swap?
rather be
I don't-
assassinated?
But he could have the legacy of John.
Legacy-wise.
But he
But
wouldn't
his-
be a Sir.
Paul has a great legacy.
But his legacy is great. Like
Okay.
he's Paul McCartney.
How about Ringo? Would he switch places with John?
Ringo might
now
take
we're
it.
getting into, now I like
Ringo
this
would
for a
sign up
sick
to that.
topic.
Okay.
That's something to chew on, my friend.
Would Ringo have taken John's exact path?
Because his whole thing is he's the disrespected Beatle.
Yeah.
I'm sure that act is worn thin on him a little bit.
He sounds the most like a Beatles. Well,
you guys,
You guys are
that's
asking
pretty
the
good.
questions to
Ringo.
people who asked you about the Beatles.
was that John? That's one of them.
I
the
think
Beatles.
you sneaky limited fake bag is awfully deep. You hit us with some
no, he's
yesterday.
good.
Oh, the Sammy one? Your Samson one was elite yesterday.
His best impersonation is Jay Gruden.
Robert and Kirk.
Very niche,
My
but it
quarterback,
is,
man.
it is-
Robert and Kirk.
That is, as someone who, again, that was my offensive coordinator. He dropped that on me mid-show one time, bro.
Threw you off.
I almost crapped my pants, bro.
Would Ringo change places with George? Because
Well,
George also
George was
passed
also-
away.
yeah, but
he
George
wasn't
was-
assassinated.
George was around a little bit longer.
Maybe
Yeah.
they'll cover this in the movie. I like the Beatles version of this, though. I do think that's really cool. And I would imagine in production, what they'll do is they'll have their individual tracks of filming, but all the scenes that do overlap, they'll just knock them out in the same setting, right?
Do you think
Like,
they're going to
just
have
all but-
arguments and it'll be like portrayed in
Yes.
one way from John's perspective and
great.
it'll be like a totally different experience from
That's the
Paul?
best part because, like, when two people come into an argument, you never see the build up leading to it. So like you said with Kaleidoscope, like we'll have a completely different thought process getting to that point.
I'm just now imagining the Ringo movie where like, Ringo, we got some rough news for you. John has been assassinated. He's like, oh, why couldn't it be me? Then like years later, like, oh, Ringo, bad news. George passes like, oh, again. When's my turn?
His whole
The whole movie. That's crazy.
the
I'm still alive.
Some of the news that's come out of the meeting at the Breakers for the NFL owners is not all that riveting right now, but some of the video I've really enjoyed. Have you guys seen the Mike Tomlin video where he's answering a question, I think, about Aaron Rodgers? He's answering that question, but the answer to the question doesn't matter as much as the visuals. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
I have not.
He looks super sweaty. Is this audio, guys? Let's play this.
We got it ready.
He's a free agent. As you guys know, he came to visit last Friday. We had a really productive day. He's been in this thing a long time. I've been in this thing a long time. But it's no substitute for, intimacy and spending time together and getting to know one another in a non-competitive environment. And so that was really good. But I don't have any new updates in terms of where the process is. We'll see where it leads us.
There's a lot more to it.
He is glistening.
He doesn't even say anything that's super interesting in there. It's just pretty straightforward about Aaron Rodgers.
He's the best at saying absolutely nothing. Like, absolutely nothing, but, like, to the point that you're like, I'd run through a wall for this guy. Saying absolutely nothing, and, like, he's right. And then if you, like, sit back and think, like, what is he right about? I don't know, but he's right.
This is not outside.
It's a hell of a skill. I was wondering if we didn't have the sound, what would I think this person is talking? Because his shirt is not sweaty, but his face and whole thing is all drenched. And like the first thing that came to my mind was that this would be someone if their girl was like, "You left your phone open." This is now someone trying to explain to them what they were.
Key and Peele meme where the sweat just starts.
Yeah,
I think that him coming from Pittsburgh to Palm Beach, Florida, isn't that where the meetings are?
Oh, that's true.
Come on, man. I moved down here 2 years ago, and I could not figure out for the life of me how you humans down here survived. Like, once it gets hot, and it's like, yo, I don't feel like your body is meant to sweat as much as you just get normalized into doing. And I think for Mike T, this is just day one, Palm Beach. Like, okay, someone left the door open. Everyone else is like, oh, it's not too bad. And he's like, what the hell is going on here?
This is just crazy.
The guy, Mike Tomlin still says nothing as good as anyone ever in history. But I think this, not to reach back to the Taylor Jenkins thing, but that's a huge value.
That's where my mind was going.
was
Like, he should take notes.
And this is, we try to figure out how valuable or how good a coach Mike Tomlin is. And we often focus on the X's and O's on the field. And for Mike Tomlin, we all appreciate that he's able to have all these super talented players who are mercurial, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to find a nice way to characterize so many of the players in that have played for them and played well for them and not survived elsewhere. But that also, like, the idea that you can deliver something and no matter what it is, people going to give it a time of day just because the way that you deliver it is with so much.
You were teammates with Ray Lewis. You know.
I do know. I'd run through a wall for Ray.
And it was all nonsense.
Utter nonsense. We played Ray in 2011.
How much you lose by?
We needed to win to get into the playoffs, and we didn't, right? But I had a couple of catches late in the game. That's some big third downs. I think I finished the game maybe with 36 yards receiving.
But you didn't care about that because you only wanted to win.
Not really, because it was like, you're that young position where it's like, do I want the season to keep going? Right?
I actually have a question. Can we hit pause on that?
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
you guys played each other
Did we?
in the league.
I don't know.
We're asking.
You were
now.
in the same. You were in the same division.
We were, but it's like
I know you were inside and Dominique was on the outside.
I
guys
tore my
get
ACL,
hurt.
so we may not have played.
You don't think that there was ever a time where you guys shared a football field? That's interesting. Considering
I think-
how much time you spend in the division.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I
There's
do know.
2,000
Unless
guys.
ChatGPT.
Figure it out.
I do know that we won if we played each other.
Yeah, likely.
Safe bet. All right, unpause.
I think
Unpause.
one of them knows, and the one that knows is the one that lost the battle. Like, that's what's going on here. And
No,
I don't know
I
which
think-
one does. I don't know which one is lying, but
I
one
think-
of them
I
has
do
been
not
pure enough.
remember going against Dominique Foxworth.
You may
in the
not remember,
NFL.
but one of you has definitely looked this up at some point in time and didn't like the results, and that's why we're both pretending we don't know if we played
I
each
know
other.
I went against almost exclusively, like 100% of the snaps against Ladarius Webb. I know that to be a fact.
Yeah.
Because
Because
he
you
was the slot
remember
corner.
or because...
Well, because I coached him before I got to the NFL, so he would call me coach on
that
the
is
field.
incredibly
While
disrespectful.
jamming you to the sideline.
No.
Webb was nice.
That is
boy.
incredibly disrespectful.
Webb was nice, boy.
Webb was nice.
He
That
came
was my
in as
man.
a safety.
I
They
love
moved him to the slot. Eventually, he played outside corner. Webb was
If
giving you
ask
that work.
Webb, who did he not like to go against the most?
That's because he felt bad about roughing his mentor up.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you ever did anything against him, he'd be like,
Mr.
"Oh, good job,
Miyagi in
coach."
that
He'd
thing.
tap you on
He's
the
got to
head.
say coach.
He really was calling me coach.
I asked ChatGPT if
Okay.
Dominique Foxworth and Andrew Hawkins ever played a game against one another in the NFL. The answer was no. Because Dominique played corner in the NFL from 2005 to 2011 before retiring due to injuries. Hawkins entered the league in 2011. While their careers briefly overlapped in 2011, Dominique was dealing with injuries and only played 2 games that season before retiring, so they never faced each other in an actual NFL game.
Go. There's the answer. ChatGPT finally
See,
gets one right.
We weren't lying, Billy.
No,
It's
man.
fine. We would have told it if it happened. Because one of us, the thing that I think that you don't recognize about us is if I knew that I gave Hawk that work.
Oh yeah,
That's
that
why.
would've been- we would have let
That's
the
why.
show
That's why I thought that you were lying.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And
I thought you were lying.
Oh yeah, I would have kicked it off day one.
Like,
Remember
go.
that time? This pivotal game.
Jumping into
I'd
the
love to
Wayback
have seen
Machine.
that. There is one way that we can fire it back up
Oh man.
and finally get the answer.
Let's just
Don't-
do it.
Tony will be quarterback. There
Without
won't
a
be an
ball.
actual ball.
Okay?
Oh, I feel good about. I feel really
Just
good.
all footwork, baby.
I got that one. I'm gonna swing down, swipe it. I got that one. I feel really good about
You're
my
gonna run
chances.
back a big 6.
Both running in opposite directions, scoring a touchdown with an imaginary ball.
I got that one. No, you didn't. Yes, I did.
I can't wait to do it now. I was saying there's no way you guys could talk me into trying to do anything athletic, but hey, if we get Tony out there with no ball, I'm down. I don't know.
Just
Tipped
an
at the
end
line.
zone fade.
Yep. I
Up
got
top.
tipped at the line.
The story I was going to get to was I didn't do that much, and then after the game, Ray gave me a speech about 2 inches away from my nose, like, "You're a goddamn warrior. You understand me? I love the way you play." And I was like, this is very intense. And so I was like, yeah, I appreciate it. But I walked away being like, I don't know. I don't feel like I did anything that important. I'm not sure if he knows exactly who I was.
While you were small.
I feel like he's mistaken me for somebody else that might have made a couple of plays in that game.
Who on the Browns?
I don't
Who?
know, man.
It was you,
or
man.
it just felt like a random speech
Yeah.
in a game that didn't
It was.
warrant a speech.
I
It would
love
be
you,
like
Eric Metcalf.
yesterday
Like, what did you
after
say?
game 1, me just like, again, nose to nose and y'all, like, and it was very.
He recognized.
He's a very close talker.
Because I think he recognizes who he is and the value of his words. And I think that he probably thought in that moment that you, in a situation, you had talent and you're on a team that is not very good, that this guy is obviously good. And it wasn't just from that game. I imagine it was from film study also.
Maybe.
And he was like, before we leave here, this guy who's obviously fighting to get in the league and stay in the league and show his worth and is on his team that could be demoralized,
Getting
I'm gonna
chills
give
now,
him.
man.
I'm gonna
I'm
give him a
getting hyped
word.
up again.
Right, and I think that's it sounds, as I get older, I recognize things that a younger me thought was stupid, but a younger me would be like, the content matters more than the delivery.
And I wouldn't say it
So
was
wrong.
stupid. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really, it's Ray
Right.
freaking Lewis, man. Like, it wasn't like, but I'm just trying to, like, contextualize it to myself. Like, you didn't do anything that great, though.
Right.
So, much
I-
love to Ray
I'm telling you what
and
happened.
his ability to motivate,
I think
which
it's
is
pretty
kind of the point of the story.
It's pretty obvious that through the week of practice, he saw this one guy on the team that is working really hard, that's making plays in spite of what's challenging around him. And then he played in the game, and they probably beat you. And he was like, "Where is that kid Hawk that stood out on film? That kid probably needs a word from Reverend Ray
I
to keep
appreciate
it
it,
going." And
That's dope.
and he hit you with it.
Would you ever avoid Ray because you like didn't want a speech at that moment?
Nah, you never. I mean, so he always speaks in speeches, and you never avoid Ray because it's either inspirational or funny. Like it's not a bad thing. Ray's the coolest dude to be around, very intense. But I think the thing that I could have learned from him that I didn't was that it's so much more in certain situations, or the delivery matters, if not more, as much as the content in certain situations. And I would always think that, like, but it's what you say that matters. But, like, no. Sometimes it's about
How you
getting
say
their
it.
attention and making sure they're in front of you.
Yoke
I mean,
'em up.
throughout the history of American politics,
Yeah.
it's often how you say things. What's the best compliment you ever received from an opponent?
Best compliment you ever received from an opponent? I don't know. I don't.
Did Jerry Rice compliment you as you ended his career?
No, Jerry Rice didn't like me.
Because you ended his career.
So Jerry, my rookie year in Denver, Jerry Rice came to camp with us. He ended up retiring before the season started, but it was like I grew up watching Jerry Rice. I love Jerry Rice. He was my brother's favorite player.
That's wild.
And
that you got to
so
do that.
my first rep in training camp was against Jerry Rice in one-on-ones.
How old was Jerry Rice?
40 plus.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
As someone who just debated all day about what we could do and could not do athletically, the thought of being in a training camp, the way I feel now, feels of the utmost ridiculous.
Jerry Rice was not participating.
Yeah, but he's Jerry Rice.
Yeah, so like
you're into all.
Valid.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jerry Rice.
Accountability. Okay.
he's the greatest receiver of all time.
My bad.
You won one
fellas.
football game in 2 seasons.
And trading
Good
camp,
call.
trading camp. That was the last one was not necessary. All of them leading up to
Yeah,
it
that
was
last
good. That
one.
last one was
And
like,
also, it's not factual. I
It's
let it
not.
go
You
because
let
it's
it
good
go. It's
marketing
funny.
at this
Yeah,
point
it's funny.
to be
Yeah.
so historically bad
how
that
many
it's
games?
the calling card. I only was a part of the first season, technically.
Okay, gotcha.
But I digress.
Where that
Continue.
that was the one where they won no games.
We were 1-15.
Okay.
The following year, they were 0-16.
So take that.
Yeah,
They-
buddy.
he
All
wasn't
right?
there for that.
Unless you
Wow.
think
wasn't
this
there.
show's the only example of getting worse show over show.
How
Cleveland
dare
Browns
you.
followed up a 1-win season with a 0-win season.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jerry came to camp, and Jerry's camp experience was different because you're a vet at that point. Camp for us was like, look, I got to show y'all I can play every single snap of every day for 2 whole practices.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice, they knew like what you're capable of. We needed to see like how much of it he could bring to the table, and they determined that it wasn't enough. But Jerry was not Jerry Rice, and so my first rep, I won it, and I was so
like
hyped.
Jerry Quinoa. But go ahead. Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Hey man, we gotta
you
take
should.
shots. I think
You're afraid to touch the button?
This is one of those games where you gotta just put them up and see where it lands. Now you know where that button is. all of a
Hold off
sudden.
the late rally. Come on, we got a Jerry Rice story.
Did I do it? Yeah. The best thing about Jerry Rice, he's incredibly cool, as you would expect him to be, being the greatest receiver of all time. But the greatest thing about it, training camp, we had the off-season stuff, and so we were there together for a long time. And so we would go to the club, and Jerry would go with us. And it was
Crazy in and of itself. Like we're gonna just breeze over that, but we'll come back to it. Go
why
ahead.
is it crazy?
40 years old in the club with you as a rookie, 21, 40 plus.
So it was like
Never makes sense, no
whole-
matter the context. But go ahead.
the whole team was like, "Hey, we're going out," and like you're part of the team, you go out, right? So
Okay.
anyway, Jerry, we was in early 2000s, so we all were in oversized clothes, and Jerry was in a fit that was probably killing him in the 80s, and would probably kill him right now because like the tight,
cycle.
it was tight. Buttons, only a few buttons button and a skinny chain. But we were in an era where everything was baggy, monster chains. And so we walk into the club, Jerry is in the 80s cooking them. And we all in 2000 looking at Jerry like, why you dressed like that? But really, he was the freshest one of all of us in like a silk button down with his chest hair out and a tiny gold chain.
Like if you had a
Everybody got big
picture of
chains.
that night right now, he would be the only one.
Yeah,
where they'd
we
be
all
like,
would be looking
he
like,
has sense. What the hell are y'all doing?
you remember how ridiculously big our clothes were?
4X, bro. I never looked at the jean size. Now, again, me, 5'7", I would walk into a store. I would just pick up whatever pair of jeans and buy it. Never looked at the tab. It did not matter the size of it because there was no downside to it.
Hey, my belts was getting work, boy. The belts was,
The braided belts.
Oh, yeah, because you had to pull it so tight. I couldn't
Yeah.
have a belt with holes in it. That braided joint, I would get size 38 pants,
Hey.
which, like, I wear 32, 33.
Facts, man.
Put them on, zip, super tight, and I thought I was killing them with a baggy throwback on. Whew. I remember when I had all the jerseys, like, going out of high school, I had a bunch of jerseys, and I had, like, one authentic jersey. That thing was fresh. The rest of it was the replicas with the little screen printed on it. I had like
Never lasted.
I had a red tiki barber that I thought was cold because it was red. It's like, what are you doing with a tiki? Like, he was not like an exciting player. He's a good player, but like I had a tiki barber jersey on just
but it
because
was like,
the colors.
The more niche the player, the more respect you got. You know, like
I had a
yes, Joe Jaravicious. Check me, my boy. You see me out here shining. Okay.
Joe Jaravicious.
Hawk, what's the best compliment you received from an opponent?
You're cute. You're a good-looking guy. Thank you.
Did it come from a handsome dude?
Huh?
Nah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But you left there feeling good about yourself?
Hey, I'm like, hey, man.
Were you I regret this about me, but towards my entire career, I was a get off the field as soon as possible guy. Like, I wasn't a hang out, shake hands guy. Win or lose, it was like, game's over, I'm in there. So, like, that was the time for compliments. Like, I would participate in all the trash talk and fighting in the game and that sort of stuff. But the time for, like, oh, yeah, whatever, we get up in the offseason, blah, blah, I ain't had time for going to the locker room.
I didn't go to a big enough school to have enough friends in the NFL.
I think that was probably it,
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like guys I grew up playing against in the league. You know, it was like,
where's Gradkowski?
yeah, it's like 9 MAC players, you know. And even then, we probably don't even remember each other because I can't believe you're
those
here.
sins.
We can't believe
You laid
either
the
one of us is
foundation,
here.
though. Like, you guys have put guys in the league since.
No, for sure. Now it's all good. But also, if you're a free agent, if you're going into free agency, that's when you stick around.
Yeah.
You go
Try to
shake
talk some
every
coaches.
coach's hand. And you also, it's like, they need to know the personality. It's almost like combine interviews after every game.
No jersey swaps for you?
Hell no. No jerseys.
That wasn't a thing when
That
they were
wasn't
in
a
the
thing
league.
in our era.
Really?
Well, at the end of my era,
It's a newer
it was.
thing?
But you had to be really good back then.
Yeah.
Back
It was-
then, you had to be good to jersey
There's people
swap.
like watching a Champions League final in the World Cup, like, hey, let's
Yeah.
let's
I
do
think.
that.
It's always funny watching football players do that because they have to, like,
Yeah.
pads, and they're like, all of a sudden they're completely
so
almost
inconvenient to
naked.
take off.
You need somebody to help you yank it off.
And you pay for it.
awkward.
Yeah, I was gonna say they charge you for it too,
pay
right?
for
So like
every jersey.
you're talking to the person like, oh, I'm gonna spend like $400 on this person. I don't even know you.
I did get denied for a jersey swap.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, by Steve Smith.
Nice. Steve Smith.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. He was like, nah.
He just said it like
I thought
that.
I thought you asked. I thought you made that seem like.
I thought you said nod.
That was like the positive
NA.
nod, too. I was like, oh, it's a good one.
H.
Ice up.
Nah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, nah.
That went
But-
from being awesome to sad.
Yeah, no, well, I'm a big Steve Smith fan, as you would imagine, growing up.
You didn't
he also
say that? That didn't
played
help?
with my brother, and it was like one game I had really good game against the Ravens, and I just did what you did. I went inside. So then we played the Ravens the second time, and in pregame, he like cussed me out. Like, hey, mother,
That
I
means
played
he
with your
loves
brother. You don't ever go in without saying what's up with, and he was being dead serious, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So the next couple times we played, I dapped up. And then my last year, it was like, can I get the jersey? And it was like, nah. So,
That is great.
but I think it was because he had like, this is what at least I qualified in my mind. He had like the special jersey that he made
okay.
where you had the hand warmer in the jersey.
Right.
He was like, yeah, no, bro, I'm not
like
not going to get another one of these done up. Yeah. And again, at least that's how I qualified it in my mind of why that happened.
That's right. It's impossible to get one of them hand warmer jerseys.
Yeah, I
Those
mean,
are hard to come by,
So-
especially in Carolina. It's hot down there.
Yeah, no, it was,
They certainly wouldn't make it for Steve Smith or whatever.
No, you act like they told him beginning of the year, you got one.
You
You got one.
Don't
Better
even-
bleach that.
Don't even think about swapping this. You know what I'm saying?
My favorite Steve Smith clip ever when it was NFL Films. It was a playoff game, and he was just sitting next to Delhomme. He's like, "I never liked you as a quarterback. Like you as a person, you're fine, but as a quarterback, you're bad." And
think
Delhomme's just sitting there like, "Yeah."
I think my favorite Steve Smith story ever was that one.
Steve Smith's great, man. We had him on our show a while ago, and we were anticipating, I guess it was like a year ago or something.
It was amazing. He came on to do scouting reports of NFL draft receivers.
And then I asked a couple questions, and then we ended up having a therapy session. And I was like, Charlie, did we just talk about feelings with Steve Smith for
That's
an hour?
crazy.
It
That's
was
nuts.
It was actually really interesting and incredible, but it wasn't what we were anticipating.
Yeah, he talked about parenting, anger management, where he's at in his life right now. And I was just like, so you think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the Hall of Famer? Like, where are we going with this?
Maserati Marv. That's crazy because he's one of my favorite players ever.
Most underrated receiver in NFL history, in my opinion.
Pound for pound, one of the greatest we've ever seen.
Easily.
Steve Smith was a guy that when I played against, a couple times I played against him, he would check you in the first quarter. It's like, what type of game this gonna be? Yeah. Am I gonna be able to bully this person? Or are they gonna fight back? It was first quarter situation, and you hit him back. He's like, all right, we can do this. But if you don't, you are in for it.
Long day for you.
I have an update on the Tomlin situation. I'm being told that the coach's photo was inside this year because of rain, so it could be a rain situation.
There's no rain on his shirt.
Yeah, his shirt's not.
All right, I'm just like, there's some people just
look at that man.
Just making sure. Just don't want to. I don't want to be calling him sweaty if it's because of rain.
Well, to Hawk's point, is 37 degrees today in Pittsburgh. Like, he's not
So
coming from. Yeah, it's
body's
like a
not
60-degree difference.
Plus, that
right
looks
there,
like a
man.
schwitz.
Yeah, man.
But it's not on his shirt either, much like the rain isn't on his shirt. I was looking for sweat remnants dripping down that. That shirt certainly looks like it would pick up the sweat.
Yeah,
It looks like it also could have been in the rain, that shirt.
But rain doesn't sit on the
It
face
doesn't, like,
that way.
Yeah.
You don't wipe rain.
Oh, you
The
never
way
wipe
you don't
no
wipe
rain.
up with rain.
And he's not standing outside with his mouth open wide. When the rain's falling down, you turn your head down.
Yeah.
The upward wipe.
Yeah, that is not with
that's
rain.
Never
That's
been
only
anything.
with sweat.
You know what he needs? He needs a tailor.
The headband.
He needs a Taylor headband. That's what. There we go. We gotta send him. So this man got on a Nike shorts, Nike shirt, and what's that? Kmart generic headband. You don't even got to check.
No check.
They was like, so they said yes, you can have the uniform, Taylor. You got to go find your own headband, man.
And he's not sweating at all. Mike Tomlin,
Hell of a point.
who's sitting down, is sweating way more than Taylor, who is running maybe up to 800 meters.
Mike Tomlin will beat Taylor in a race today. All right, time to close out this show. I feel good about it. I'm not going to be the one to make the verdict, but it's not completely over yet. But just in case the game is closer than I think it was, we got the closer in here. Juju Gotti with that fly-ass jersey on. What's up, big dog?
What's up, my brothers? How y'all doing? It's good to see y'all in the building. You feel me? I'm going to kick it off by saying I'm a 4.97.
Ooh! Strong.
And I know what happened at one time. I got scooped up from the club. Hey, you said it. I got scooped up from the club, and the entire ride, the driver kept letting down the windows. It was like, whew, you guys smell like marijuana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you picked me up from the club, big brother. And bro left me 1 star.
Oh,
So I was like,
That's just,
That-
that's
Josh-
the racism tax, man.
Josh Freeman, is that what you got?
See?
the
He's
jersey?
still
the
in the
old
throwback
school.
era.
Yeah, I love it. I
like that.
That's what's up, man.
Keeping it alive, man. Waycross's favorite son, Juju Gotti.
You don't gotta defend yourself if you got a 9.7. Like, there's a lot of people around here putting together arguments to defend themselves, and 9.7 is great.
Yes.
Like, I was just excited because I got a .9. .90 I thought was great. I thought I was crushing everybody in here, but we got like 4 people that are higher than me, right? 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
We got a nice crew, man. Like this is a lot of nice guys around here.
I don't really like guys that are forward. I'd rather hang with a 4.7 than a 4.9. You're not living life. You know, there's too much that's passing you by. You're worried about stuff that doesn't matter. Like Billy going through the process he goes into for high ratings.
I'm a drag.
What happens?
You don't want to be around
Why
me.
do you need a high rating? Is
Why-
it like
why do
is
I
it-
need one?
Yeah, like does it
No,
like
I
limit your
think you're-
ability to
you're
get an
trying
Uber?
Juju seemed very proud of his rating. I'm
Juju's
proud of my
great.
rating. So
You should be.
Juju, why do you think it's important to have a high Uber rating? Because I know why I think it's important.
I mean, I don't know if it's important or not, but I get in tons. I feel like thousands of Ubers. Like I'm always traveling. So it surprised me whenever y'all was talking about it. I was like, dang, let me check my rating. I'm like, oh, your boy is in the percentile. You
You are
serious?
up there.
And that's so I am conscious of that, and I also believe that it's a reflection on my character. So I'm extra nice. Juju is not even conscious of it. He's just so nice.
He's a nice
Generally,
dude.
like that, he ends up. So I'm extra nice because I want my rating to be good because I do believe it's a reflection on the type of
See,
person I am.
I don't play these respectability politics. I don't give a damn what an Uber driver thinks about me.
Oh, it's cool to say I don't give a damn.
Explains why you're a 4.7.
So saying I don't. Okay, I'm not gonna put you in that spot. You out here being defensive. You care.
I'm
It's
not.
okay.
I don't care. I promise.
okay.
I'm gonna try to get mine lower. I bet you by the time I come back here on Friday, I'm gonna be in the 4.6s just to prove a point.
So you prove a point by treating people like shit?
Yes.
What is this game?
Because I don't treat people bad, and I don't judge myself on that.
Clearly.
So if you feel like you got to give me a bad rating because I might have came 5 or 6 minutes late, or because I put my luggage in your Uber and then proceeded to wait another 15 minutes and threw your day off, then that's on you. My life is
Sounds like
crazy.
it's on you.
Awfully defensive for someone who doesn't think that this is a
Just say it,
representation of how they treat people, but whatever.
I will
Juju.
say Juju's 4.97 is a black 5, basically, because that's
Oh,
like
yeah,
the highest
definitely a black
as a
five.
black
You feel
man,
me?
It's a
especially
black
with dreads
five.
and tats.
A black man?
That's why he's one of the
5.97
Josh
with
Freeman.
tattoos, sunglasses, and dreads. Are you serious?
They are automatically docking you. You work your way up from that 3.
crazy.
You sit down with a 3. You sit down with a 3, and you leave with a 5. Oh, that man, Juju.
They almost gave that man his car.
Oh
They love
man.
Juju so damn much. That's nuts.
Oh, Juju. So what from today's show? What you got for us?
I got some notes. Y'all was talking about a comparable athlete to John Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enter. I think John Lennon may be Magic Johnson's career. You feel me? Because we all know Magic was Magic,
Yeah.
but circumstances was circumstances.
That's a damn
Juju,
good
that's
point.
great. That is fantastic.
Appreciate y'all.
Way to expand the lead.
Yep. Juju
Hell
coming in
yeah.
firing. This is what you do.
I also
to
want to
close it.
give some love to the women's Final Four. You dig? UConn, Texas, UCLA, South Carolina. Them girls finna get it popping this Friday. So you know what I mean? Tune in and support women's sports. You got to know.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. And
Team Page.
We're
also,
all team Page.
oh yeah, Paige. Paige is the queen. Also, you know what I mean? In the game y'all having, which I think today was a great game. I think yesterday was a great game. You know, Keenan, you know what I mean? We're going to get it together. But I feel like I'm the equipment manager in the situation. And I'm not going to wait till coach tell me to go fill the water bottles up. I'm going to keep them things filled up and so I can quench some thirst whenever the thirst need quenching.
Yep.
You feel me? So I took it upon myself to make some polls out of the stuff y'all was talking about. You feel me?
Way to go.
So
love that, man.
should the tush push be banned? 52% of the audience says, you know, it should not be banned.
That's insanely split.
That is right down the middle.
Yeah, no, he took some liberties with the polls, and I'm glad that he did because there's a good one coming.
Okay.
Should the forward pass be banned?
Okay. Is that down the middle?
59% of the audience says, yes, it should be.
All right. Now I don't trust the first poll.
So who would win in a foot race?
Big one.
Dominique, Hawk, or Taylor?
If Taylor wins, I might flip the desk again.
52% of the audience says Hawk would win.
All right.
27% of the audience says Dominique would win. And Taylor caught the scraps. Look at my boy. That boy is ambiguous. I don't know what my dog is, but I love it.
Man.
He's
Salute.
everyone. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Taylor.
Also, salute to the chat today. Cloud Feet, Maloney Baloney, Greg Fox, Juan Dominguez, Raygon Charles, GBC Boy, and the Cafecito Crew Gaming. I see you guys. Last poll. Is a Caesar wrap a salad? 67% of the audience says no.
Valid.
Taylor.
As a matter of fact, it's not the last poll. It's not. I have one more poll. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
Can everyone play the bongos?
That's got to be a yes.
67% of the audience says yes, we can.
I
Back to you
appreciate it.
guys.
Let's do awards for the show, but first of all, we're looking at that picture of Taylor. He looks like We Are the World. Like I feel like every time you put that picture up, I hear the song play in my head. We are the world.
You know when they genetically modify like
The future man.
human,
This is
when
what
everything just melts into one.
This is what men look like.
This is what the men on the track team for North Carolina look like
2075.
400 years from now.
He's what the UN aspires to be.
Taylor, UN Taylor.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! So, all right, let's do some show awards. I want to kick off the first one. You know, Hawk, when you have a real big, good game by the team, everybody gets the game ball.
Yep.
So I want to give a game ball to the entire team in here,
I like that.
out there, ship container. everyone in the video room. Congratulations, Juju, Game Ball for everybody. Way to go, y'all. You was on top of it in the video room. Every time I called for some video, boom. Popped up. No hesitation.
I got an award for Stop Me in My Tracks award.
Wow.
Hawk said an opposing player once told him that he was cute, couldn't do anything with it. Wanted to, but I couldn't tell. Just stop me in my tracks.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Good fourth down stop right there, Hawk.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I think you stopped the tush push. I really
did.
do.
That's how you do it. I have the Steve Smith Nah Award for best definitive no, and I'm going to give it to Charlie for stopping any Jim Larinaga talk.
Oh, yeah. Way to go.
Nah, we're not doing that.
Way to go. Way to
love
know
to swap,
on that.
nah.
That's how we won game 2.
Yep, for sure.
I would like to give the smoldering sex symbol award also to my boy Charlie in the back with the button button.
Nice. Charlie, the vanilla snack.
When Neek was talking about that Jerry Rice outfit, Charlie was like, "Come on, man, that sounds right up my alley."
Sounds pretty good.
It's not tight enough. Jerry Rice had their things skin tight.
Could I give an award?
Of course.
Could I give the
Couldn't get a
HIPAA
penny
award
on
to all of
these.
us for not making fun of people with GERD today?
No.
Way to go.
That's
I'll
incredible.
accept on our behalf.
Yes, please do.
So who's gonna win our daily award? Charlie Hume maybe for beating Dom.
He didn't beat me.
Dominique's cat Lamar. I remember that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Lamar.
I like Lamar a lot.
All right, Lamar wins it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Taylor's headband.
Taylor's head.
Yeah, that's a good one. That wins, actually.
Oh.
I had another Taylor award. It was called the Participation Award for his roster spot on the UNC
Good
track
job,
team.
Taylor. Good job.
Way to show up. Way to show up.
He was there.
I would like to give an award to the man behind Taylor, whose somehow vision is so bad that man got to wear glasses to run track.
Jason is his name, I believe.
Shout out to Jason. For need. I can't see them lines.
Who ran unattached and just put his first name on his shirt.
He said,
Jason.
"Hey, I'm Jason. I'm going to run this 800-meter relay behind." Look at Taylor. Look at Taylor.
In the nose, out the mouth.
That's textbook, man.
I want to give an award to Hawk. He was quarterback friendly today. Every time I needed it, Hawk was open. Anytime I got tripped up, drop it to Hawk. He going to get us 4 or 5 yards off that thing, keep the sticks rolling.
I got to give one right back to Nick for comeback player of the show.
Ooh!
Came in here with the strategy. And like Michael Jordan, we didn't always like it, right? It wasn't always friendly. It wasn't always kumbaya, but he cares about winning. And if you don't like that, that's fine.
Somebody called me Michael Jordan on the street yesterday. Anyway,
This was amazing.
Can
you tell this story really quickly?
No, I can't.
I don't want to attribute everything to racism, but there's a very the fact that you're not bald
You look
alone.
pretty crazy. You look nothing like Michael Jordan.
And I'm not even 6 feet.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
And you're just much younger and more sober at this point.
Hold on. What was the context? You're just watching someone's like, Michael Jordan.
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. I don't know. Maybe I was tired yesterday, so maybe my eyes were like Hennessy brown. So they was like they were cognac tinted.
Cognac yellow.
I had cognac tinted eye whites, and they were like, oh,
I think it had more to do with Miami Music Week.
possibly.
Can we give an award to the Feelin' Nicey Award to Chris Cody for the greatest Jay Gruden imperation I've ever heard?
Yeah.
Limited Fakes are incredible.
Robert and Kirk.
Oh, give me. I want
Ringo.
Where's Fat Rob?
hit us with a little Ringo.
The Beatles. We are the Beatles.
Man, we smoked him game 2. Covered the spread and everything.
1-1, baby.
Yeah. But bad news. Tomorrow, interviews are back.
No, we had a day. We had a day to prepare. I'm gonna be ready for the interviews, guys. Trust me.
And I need some load management, so I'm not going to be here till Friday. You guys hold it down.
Woo.
All we need is you to make sure the score is even when I come back.
All right.
I'll bring my A game.
This is a tough rubber match. My number 2 not gonna show up, but we're gonna get it done. I gotta figure some things out, Charlie. We'll figure some things out. Call in some reinforcements. I'm gonna actually.
Charlie, you got a question for the guest tomorrow? You good? All right.
I'm gonna prepare better for the interviews. I'm gonna write the whole damn interviews out. You guys don't know how crazy I am. I was sick last night for how bad we lost the show.
He's just gonna talk about how competitive he is and do absolutely nothing different.
You got me. I'm gonna get drunk tonight. We out.